And this is going to be part 2 of my personal story, the real unfiltered version, the juggling, the genuine pitfalls that I'm still working through right now in this very season of my life. Every skill in life is learnable. And if you genuinely lack one, confide in someone else and build something remarkable together. Look for opportunities. There are so many out there and so many people are simply just too scared to take them. That fear mindset, that scarcity energy, is generally what kills most entrepreneurs and sends them running back to corporate. Hello beautiful souls, and welcome back to the Confident Alchemist podcast, where bold women take the brave leap to build businesses and lives they deserve. I'm Debbie, and this is going to be part 2 of my personal story. Last week I took you through my breaking point, the toxic printing job, the parking lot dread, the firewalk that changed everything, and the mindset shift that had to happen before I could finally resign in mid-2020. If you haven't listened to part 1 yet, go back and start there, because today will only make sense in light of everything became before it. Today I want to bring you into the present. Not the polished Instagram highlight version of successful business owner with 4 businesses, but the real unfiltered version, the juggling, the genuine pitfalls that I'm still working through right now in this very season of my life. And the advice I would give anyone sitting in their own version of the parking lot moment right now, wondering if they have what it takes. So let's get into it. I started in January 2021 with 2 businesses. And I want to be really clear, it was never meant to become 4. I didn't sit down with some grand 5-year plan mapped out on a whiteboard. Life and opportunity built this one piece at a time. The first business was a signage reselling company, which became my bread and butter, the thing that actually paid my bills. The second was my transformation in life coaching, which was first and foremost a genuine passion project. Born directly out of my own crisis, my own healing, and my own hard-won transformation. As I slowly built my name and my community, coaching started generating real, meaningful income too. But here's something quite personal about me. I'm a Pisces, and I get bored incredibly easy. So after about 4 years of running the same coaching format over and over, I felt that restlessness creeping in. I knew I needed to create something new. That restlessness eventually led to a never expected. My coaching client kept on asking me for business advice on the side. How to do the marketing, how to design a logo, how to register a company, how to become VAT registered. I was already doing all of that for my signage business. I have a legitimate VAT registered business. So I started seeing a gap in the market. Women didn't just needed emotional coaching. They needed the actual roadmap of how to start a business and create freedom. That gap became the Brave Leap, a 12-week startup course under my own name, Debbie Hartman Coaching. And then, in 2026, I spotted the opportunity. I simply just couldn't walk away from it, even though I have sworn out loud more than once that I would never own a signage company again. Life has a funny sense of humor sometimes. This time though, I made a deliberate choice not to do it alone. I know from painful experiences that employees don't always carry the same drive, the same mindset, or the same fire that I do. So I approached a trusted friend, someone I worked with alongside many years, and we started this printing and signage business as a partnership. Not an employer sitting above employee, but 2 equals sharing the weight. So what does a typical week like for me now, juggling all of these businesses? I dedicate 2 full days, especially to coaching clients. Those are my sacred days. I work from home, from my own office, fully present for the people that I'm coaching. The other 3 days are split between the operational demands of the printing and signage side. Over time, my original reselling business will fully merge into this bigger printing company. So eventually, I will only be down to 1 unified printing business instead of 2 overlapping ones. That's a long-term plan. I run operations, sales, marketing, admin, and finances across these businesses. My partner handles the on-the-ground operations and physical installations. We generally complete each other in that respect. Morning starts for me around 5:30, sometimes 6 in the winter. My days begin with my own personal morning routine before anything else catches my attention. And from there, from 7:30 onwards, I'm at my desk, clearing admin, so I can be fully present for my presence sessions later in the day. In between sessions, I come back and tackle more admin. It's a constant rhythmic dance between the different parts of my life. Now, if I'm being completely honest with you, and this podcast is nothing but honest, balance is still my biggest ongoing struggle, even now, even after everything I've built. This new printing burning is deadline driven and incredibly demanding. It's a lot like having a newborn baby, if I'm honest. You're going to have less sleep, more urgent attention required, less freedom to step away until that baby or that business grows bigger and more established enough to be left alone for a few hours without something falling apart. I still work weekends sometimes, when it's quiet and there are no phone calls or emails coming in. Shutting my computer down at 5 p.m. simply isn't realistic yet in this current season. Cash flow is another constant pressure that comes with any growing business, and I want to name this clearly because nobody talks about it enough. Clients want 30 days account. They want to pay you a full month after the work has delivered. And in the meantime, you're often carrying the cost yourself out of your own pocket, waiting for the payment to land. It depends entirely on how quickly and how big you want to grow. But cash flow will always be something you have to actively manage, not something that manages itself. Energy is real too, and I don't think it gets discussed honestly enough in entrepreneurship space. You're constantly busy, constantly thinking. You generally can't afford to let any of your businesses go unanswered, unfollowed up on, forgotten. It's a relentless, ongoing act of staying on top of everything, of holding a dozen balls in the air at once, never quite being allowed to put them down completely. Then there's a partnership, and this one surprises me more than I expected to. After years of running my own solo businesses, where every decision was purely mine to make, sharing that decision-making authority has generally been a judgment. Everything now has to run through both of us, and sometimes my partner doesn't get it back to me quickly enough, or we simply are not on the same page because of a particular direction. It's a real source of frustration, if I'm honest. But here's the flip side, the catch-22 of it all. Having someone else share the load, share the risk, is also enormous relief. Both of us are taking on the risk together. Both of us can carry the weight when the other one is having an off day. So yes, it's frustrating at times, but it's also protective in a way that solo entrepreneurship never was for me. And then, the thing that generally keeps me up at night more than anything else, staff. I have full-time staff employed now, and I'll be completely honest with you. It's generally difficult to work with people who carry what I call an employee mindset. People who simply aren't as driven, as focused, as personally invested in the outcome as I am. That's not a criticism of them as human beings. It's just a different relationship with risk and reward. It's also worth mentioning that this particular industry, the printing and signage, it's a very male-dominated driven space. And the men in this industry don't always take you seriously right away, especially once they realize that you are the boss, not just someone's assistant or the person answering the phones. You have to be firm. You have to lay down the rules and the boundaries, consistently, without apology. And then there is the coaching side of my life. With the coaching side, I constantly have to update my curriculum. I have to find new ways to promote my new clients' businesses, come up with ideas how to promote and market them and help them launch their products. I also have to do these type of podcasts and marketing content for my own business so it can grow. So as you can see, this side of the business is not just about coaching. It's about following up, doing the admin, doing the podcast, and putting myself out there and showing up for my clients every single day. So if I'm summarizing honestly, cash flow maintaining staff, partnership dynamics, and managing my own energy, these are the 4 pitfalls I did not fully see coming when I signed up for this bigger, more ambitious chapter of my life. I want to spend a moment specifically on the partnership because I do think it deserves its own space. Working with a partner comes with its own set of headaches, but it also comes with real, tangible gifts if the fit is right. You need to genuinely trust your partner. You both need to be roughly the same temperament of person, chasing the same goals, holding the same vision for where this thing is going. In my case, I am more the visionary of the business. I know exactly where we're heading. My partner, on the other hand, is exceptionally good at delegating tasks, following up consistently, and actually getting the physical work done on the ground. She's far more hands-on than I am. I lean more towards the visionary, the admin, the sales, and financial side of things. So in a strange and beautiful way, we complement each other's strengths and weaknesses almost perfectly. The key is, though, to making sure that when your partner is having an off day, that you are the one stepping up and pulling the weight, and the other way around, without resentment building underneath the surface. There has to be trust. There has to be genuinely open, honest communication. You have to become deeply aware of your own emotions because you're required to stay professional, even though, and in our case, you're also close friends outside of business. It's a different dynamic entirely, and you have to constantly protect that professionalism, even amid the friendship. For someone who has been a solo entrepreneur for so many years, it can generally be frustrating sometimes, having to check in before making decisions, having quota orders delayed because you first need to align with each other. Getting that flight of frustration when my partner moves ahead with something without running it past me first. It's a real adjustment, but it's one I'm learning to navigate season by season. Looking back at 2021, when I only had 2 businesses, I genuinely never envisioned having my own full staff operation I do have now. Back then, I told myself I didn't want to get too big. I wanted enough to cover my expenses, live comfortably, and have enough time to actually coach people, because that is truly where my passion and my heart lives. Signage is something that I'm very good at. It's a skill, but it was never my passion. I was fortunate enough to build a life where I could do both simultaneously. Something I was skilled at and something I was genuinely passionate about. I believe a combination is the real key of how I stayed sustainable and successful all of these years. Coaching gets me up in the morning, genuinely excited, wondering who I get to help today. Signage brought me the steady money that let me live a life well built and a life that I'm proud of. Looking back now, I never would have guessed that I ended up a bigger operation with staff and a business partner. It's time consuming. It's mentally draining at times. And it's honestly frustrating on a regular basis. But I also know that if you employ the right people, key staff members who genuinely share your temperament and your mindset, and yes, they are out there, this can become an incredible, successful, sustainable business. There's always something very deeply meaningful about creating employment for other people, even amid the frustration of it all. What I tell that earlier version of myself is simple. Stay open-minded. I already mastered how to be a solo entrepreneur. I was successful. I am successful. My next chapter's challenge was learning how to be in genuine partnership and how to lead staff rather than to be a manager and manage myself. Thankfully, I happen to love a good challenge. If you're sitting right there right now, seriously considering this path, I'm genuinely proud of you. Because it's going to be one of the hardest, scariest decisions you ever make in your life. I promise you that. You're going to doubt yourself in the beginning. You're going to feel like a failure some days, even an imposter. You're going to worry more than you like to admit about what other people think about you. But if you can push through those fears and those limiting beliefs and genuinely trust that you have the skills or that you can learn them, you can build something real. I always tell my clients, have multiple streams of income. Don't put your eggs in one basket. I've watched it happen too many times. Someone opens a single business, pours everything into it, And then, when that one business fails, they fail completely alongside it. Look honestly at your skills you currently have and already being paid for, and find a way to monetize those first. It might not be your deepest passion yet, but if it can sustain you now, you can build your true passion project alongside it, brick by brick. You need vision and absolute clarity of where you're taking this. I firmly believe most businesses fail because of a lack of vision, not a lack of effort. You need the mindset shift of no longer being an employee. You are now the employer, or the solo decision maker that demands real discipline, focus, tenacity, and resilience. There will be what I call winter seasons, when clients are slow, cash flow is tight, and the temptation to panic is strong. You push through that anyway. You don't fixate on what's currently in the bank. You hold onto your vision and your belief, while staying realistic at the same time. Don't buy into the fear. Don't buy into the naysayers. And trust me, there will always be naysayers. Believe in yourself enough to actually just try. But make sure that you have something, savings, a side income, a partner, support that can sustain you for at least 6 months to a year. But you're not making every decision from a place of raw fear, because that fear mindset, that scarcity energy, is generally what kills most entrepreneurs and sends them running back to corporate. Choose abundance instead. Believe that clients are coming, because they are. And finally, look for opportunities. There are so many out there, and so many people are simply just too scared to take them. If you are afraid, then partner up with someone who isn't. Someone who is a natural go-getter, a real salesperson, someone whose strength covers your own gaps. Every skill in life is learnable, and if you genuinely lack one, go find in someone else and build something remarkable together. That's my story, the beginning, the breaking point, and where I stand today with 4 businesses. Real ongoing pitfalls and plenty of lessons still unfolding in real life. I didn't share this with you to impress you. I shared it because you know that the messy, non-linear, I don't fully have it figured out yet path is not just normal. It's probably the truth for every single entrepreneur that you admire. Send me a message and tell me which part of my journey resonated the most with you. Thank you for listening, beautiful souls. See you next week for another week of truth, boldness, and transformation.